The following program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395 is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information. You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, July 12th show. I'm your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Thank you for taking time to talk money. I'm dedicated to my listeners, providing you with tools needed to make informed decisions on all matters regarding your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but we are here to answer any questions or connect you with any of the guests that I have in studio today. Please take down our show number at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And if you miss any of the show today, you can always listen to the podcast on themoneyhour.com, or if you miss something that sounds really interesting. And the lineup for studio today, we have Dan Wingard, current CEO of Keller Realty Bellevue. I'm going to talk with Dan on how people can become more productive and fulfilled by focusing on what's important to them and connecting with their dreams. Dan has been an inspiration to me personally, and I'm very excited to have him in studio to share his personal side a little bit more of how he helps people in accomplishing that. And it's a little bit of crazy things that go on in the real estate market, and it can make people that are in the real estate market a little bit crazy, and it's nice to figure out how to just be calm and be passionate, enjoy what you're doing in life. So I'm excited to have my segment with Dan. Also in studio, I have Jean Roberts with Old Republic Home Protection. Learn the benefits of why you should always have home warranty, get protected from unforeseen repair bills, and provide peace of mind. And my last guest in studio today, in today's crazy real estate market, it's critical to work with a skilled negotiator. Now's the time to pick the best of the best to represent you. And how do you find them? Well, I just happen to have some of them in studio today, Kim being one of them. Kim Fraser with John L. Scott to talk about real estate and some things that you need to know in this real estate environment. And that's the lineup. And I think we'll go ahead and start out with a little money chat.
Money.
How do you be successful when getting a mortgage? Those of you that are first-time listeners, I am a mortgage professional. That's what I do for my full-time career when I'm not hanging out here once a week in studio to talk with you guys. And so I thought I would do Money Chat, have Money Chat, and talk a little bit about my arena, because there's a lot of things that happen in the mortgage industry. And it's like anything else in life. When you see things that don't go right with processes and procedures, they're not one-off things. They're things that consistently go wrong over and over and over and over again. And when it comes to mortgages, the reason things would go wrong in the mortgage process, it's not your fault. It's your mortgage consultant. Somebody is not communicating the right way to help you understand what needs to happen to make this process go smoothly and on time. So I figured out that there's 8 tips, and that's how simple it is. I won't say getting a mortgage simple, because it's not. There's a lot that goes into getting a mortgage. It's not a lot of fun, but as long as you know that you've got to provide a lot of paperwork and you've got to move quickly, then everything's going to run efficiently, smooth, and on time with the least amount of stress. So there's 8 tips that you need to know, and this is during the closing process. So once you've had an offer accepted on a home, as long as you know these 8 tips and you follow them, everything is going to run efficiently, smooth, and on time. So here's the first tip, turning around your documents. You want to expedite this process, and you can start by, in the approval process, making sure that you get all your completed tax returns, any documentation that you have of moving money around in your accounts. That's another thing that sometimes can take time if you don't know. But you want to expedite and get your documents turned around as quickly as possible. I tell my clients 24 hours. So in a typical closing period, as long as documents are getting turned around within 24 hours, everything is going to run efficiently and smooth when it comes time to the document process. Also, don't ask any questions on why you need to provide the items, because it just wastes time for you. You have to provide everything. And here's something to kind of look at. I always tell my clients it's not the underwriter. Underwriter is not the person that is trying to make things difficult for you. Honestly, the underwriter wants to approve mortgages. That's what their job is. But at the same time, the underwriter is required to protect the company, because if they don't, not only are they going to lose their job, but the company also isn't going to be able to lend money to new future homeowners. It's not the lender that comes up with these regulations either. It's the secondary market. So they put together what's required and what needs to happen, because banks lost that privilege after the mortgage meltdown. So get things turned around and move forward efficiently on that. Updated documents, just know that you're going to have to provide them. And why somebody would be asked for a pay stub at the closing table, I have no idea. You should know up front that you're going to have to provide every single pay stub all the way until the time that you close. So every time you get a new pay stub, send it over. Every time, just send it over, because there's so many people I see, they're sitting at the closing table and they're trying to scramble at the last minute because they need a pay stub. Well, if you were communicated up front that you need to continue to provide them, you would have provided that a few days ago when that pay stub came in. Same thing with bank statements. Any asset statements, just keep on sending over the new ones all the way through the process until you close on your mortgage. Now, I'm not talking about during the approval process, because there could be 6 months before you actually find a home. But once you have an offer accepted, you're going to update and continue to update all the way till closing. New debt. Don't get any. Don't get any new debt at all. Don't open any credit cards. There's no reason why you want to be shopping during the home closing process. And if you do want to shop during the home process, you're thinking about it as more than you typically are, because you're getting a new house. So there's appliances and all kinds of cool things. And I'm going to talk with Jean on how to protect all those new appliances and things that you're going to be purchasing. But just wait till you get in your house and then do it. It doesn't matter if there's qualifying issues or not. Just say that you've got tons of room. If your mortgage consultant says, your debt to income ratio is really low, you don't need to worry about it, you got plenty of room. The issue is not just that. It's the fact that something new shows up on your credit report, and that triggers the fact that it needs to go back to a different stage, and you're starting that process over. You're going to lose time, and things aren't going to close on time, most likely. Don't open up any new credit cards or any of that. Life changes. Life changes would be change of job, change of positions within your employer, income changing, anything that's changing from the time that you've been pre-approved until the time that you close. It doesn't mean that you can't change your jobs. You just want to pick up the phone and you want to ask your mortgage consultant first before doing that. Deposits. Oh, and also in life changes, you don't want to be getting married or divorced during that process either without checking with a mortgage consultant first, because there's things that can totally change in the paperwork for that. Deposits, make sure that you're just holding on to everything and talking with your mortgage consultant as money is coming in of your account, because you do have to paper trail and verify all of those funds. You don't want to deposit any cash. Cash during the closing process is bad because it can't be verified. And again, these are strict regulations that are set up by the secondary market, not set up by the lenders, just guidelines that they have to follow. And seventh is the signing date and cash needed for closing. Unfortunately, it's just the way the timeline or the industry works. And I have to say that the mortgage industry is the one that kind of messed things up here. Escrow has a really hard job. They get everything at the very last second, and they've got to pick up all the pieces that everybody else dropped in the process. And they're the last ones that you talk to, which means a lot of times things get blamed on escrow when it's not their fault. So they're starting when everything is already behind. It would be really nice if you could get a signing scheduled from the escrow company prior to, so that you know when that's going to be. But unfortunately, they don't do that. And I don't blame them, because what happened was the mortgage industry would commit when they're going to have loan documents over to escrow. The escrow company would schedule a signing with the buyer, and then that time comes and the documents haven't arrived yet. So that's why it works like that. The reality of what happens is you're going to find out when you're going to sign 2 to 3 days prior to closing. So it's no big deal, and it's not going to cause any stress as long as somebody communicates that up with you up front, and you know that sometime 2 to 3 business days prior to closing, you're going to go into escrow. I'm sure if you let your employer know that you're in the middle of buying a house, they'll make exceptions. And if not, take some time off during that time. If for some reason, if you're purchasing with a spouse or a significant other, and they're not going to be in town, then you can get a power of attorney set up. So there's lots of things that you can do to prepare up front, as long as you know what's expected. And then cash that you need to close, you don't know the exact dollar amount until you get to closing. Hopefully you're working with a good mortgage consultant where the figures are going to be high. I always tell my clients, things are going to be within $500, usually up or down, and it'll be in that range. But you don't know the exact dollar amount until escrow figures out all of those final figures. And last tip If you plan on leaving town for more than an extended weekend, rethink it or talk with your mortgage consultant first. I hear things going around in the office that there's an issue because, oh gosh, my clients decided to leave town during the signing period. Well, if somebody would have told you that, you would have never planned a vacation. I'm sure of it because you're in the middle of a closing process. Again, it's all about just communicating and knowing up front. If you want my 8 tips to successful closing, I actually have 8 tips for an agent as well. There's a lot of things that realtors do on a regular basis. None of the ones that come into studio because, again, I only have the best of the best in their industry that I invite in here. But if you want any of the tips or anything that I talk about during Money Chat or information provided by my guest, again, you can give the show a call, 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And coming up next on the Money Hour, what does it take to be successful and to follow your passion? My next guest advice can be for anyone, whether you're selling real estate or you're taking care of the kids at home or anything that you're doing, you'll benefit from Dan's segment. Dan Wingard, current CEO with Keller Williams Real Estate Bellevue, right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you. Call us today at 425-454-4300 or visit magnumlawgroup.com. That's magnumlawgroup.com.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
What's a win-win for you? As a top real estate consultant, that's a question that is always asked of their prospective buyers and sellers. As the #1 real estate company in North America in agent count with over 100,000 agents and growing, that's a question Gary Keller has asked the top agents in the country since founding Keller Williams Realty International in 1983. Providing a win-win environment is central to building a company that tops the industry in training, marketing and technology, culture, and wealth-building strategies.
Hi, this is Dan Wingard with Keller Williams Realty in downtown Bellevue. You can reach me directly at 206-501-9728, or you can visit us online at kellerwilliamsbellevue.com. You can contact me directly, and I'll provide you a copy of Gary Keller's latest book, The One Thing.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 12th show. I built a network of elite industry professionals just to share with you, my listeners, each week sharing their knowledge and expertise to everyone listening to my show. And if you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-1150 or on the moneyhour.com. And I can connect you with any of the guests I have in studio today or provide any information that you might have missed, because we do go a little fast. We got a lot of powerful people here and a lot of amazing things to share with you. So I would hate for you to miss out on any of it. And in studio right now, Dan Wingard, current CEO of Keller Williams Realty Bellevue. Real estate especially, you see a lot of people that are not necessarily happy in their career and sometimes in their life because it's so crazy. And I think it's easy to get wrapped up into making life about your career, and especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're selling real estate and the market is crazy it is right now. And sometimes you've just got to sit back and take some time to think about what's important to you, your passions, and what's important in life. And so I'm happy to have Dan here to talk about that. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, Dan is a real inspiration to me, and we've had some time to sit down one-on-one and talk about just this subject. So I thought it would be really nice to be able to share his thoughts. And Dan, thank you so much. First time having you in studio. Really exciting.
Oh, my pleasure.
And a little bit about Dan. Again, he is CEO of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue. Prior to taking on that role, he was a top producing realtor since 1998 and is an advocate for the Realtors Association. He will be serving as the Eastside Regional Director at Seattle King County Association of Realtors in 2015. Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you, Tina.
And he's earned many designations, including Accredited Buyer's Representative, Graduate of the Realtor Institute, Certified Residential Specialist, and is a licensed to teach real estate classes in the state of Washington. Prior to becoming a Realtor, he was a full-time musician teaching and playing drums around the Pacific Northwest. And we're talking before we came on air with you guys today. And at the sales meeting at Keller Williams, I mean, everybody should work over at the Bellevue office because he just gets out the music and plays a little bit sometimes at the sales meeting, and what a treat. So Dan, let's go ahead and just start out. What do you see in the biggest challenges right now for real estate agents or brokers getting into the business?
I think it's focus, and everybody has a perception of what the business is going to be when they get into it, and they think that they're going to be doing a deal maybe in a couple of months, but there's so many things to do when a realtor gets started. And the reality is there's one thing to do for realtors, and it's the thing that most of them avoid, and that's really just connecting with people. Connecting at a high level, you're reaching out to people that you don't know, or you're reconnecting with people that you already know and sharing what you're available to do, that you're available to serve. And I think there's a mindset with a lot of realtors that think that they're going to be out there trying to sell people on something, when the reality is you're just going to add value to their lives. So communicating that at a high level is really what it's about. So that comes from doing it. And many people are uncomfortable with that conversation. They think their mindset is that they're going to be selling them something instead of, I have some value to provide and I'm going to share what's going on in the industry, connecting with people that can share that with them if they don't know it, and just making sure that they're doing those conversations consistently from the start.
Makes total sense, Dan. And I know that we have a lot of people listening to the show, business professionals in real estate, and a lot of different financial areas. We have people that are not doing a career, but their focus is at home with their family. But what's it take to be successful in any area?
Well, as far as we're talking about business here specifically, it's getting a focus on what is that productive activity. When so many things, especially for realtors, there's always going to be way too much to do in one day. And I'm in the mortgage business, that's true. And so what are those activities that you must get done to create a sustainable business? So that's the business portion, but really that's to support a great life. So getting your priority on what is it that you want. Why are you doing this? Why are you making these connections? What do you want for your family? What do you want for your life? And making sure that you have a strong connection. So when things get tough, you keep going because you know that you have a strong purpose. So I would say for any business person, making sure that they're making those connections. That's any business. You have to have business no matter how good you are. And then having clarity on why you're doing it.
So having your primary reason on why you're doing this, what is that core and purpose for it? And then what's your primary role that you need to do to be able to maximize that opportunity for income? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, so many realtors will jump around to the next shiny object. You know, that instead of mastering 1, 2, maximum 3 things that they can do in this industry to provide a great level of service, to really truly be professionals like Kim Fraser from John L. Scott. Yeah,
makes total sense. And if you've never heard of Darren Hardy, I encourage to read his book, get one of his CDs, and he talks just about that. I mean, you have to find the one thing that you're responsible for in your profession and focus everything around that, and not all the things that can get distracting and take up time that you really don't need to be doing those activities. Right. So let's say that someone's listening right now, Dan. I mean, it's obviously an amazing time to get into the real estate market. There's a lot of opportunity, and it can be a lot of fun if you've got your focus. But where would you tell them the first step, or the step that they need to be taking?
Really, it's just getting that dialogue of connecting with people. What's that going to be? And getting clarity on, typically it's going to be the people that you know, and many people will want to avoid that conversation because it's uncomfortable. They'll want not to do business with the people that they know best.
Yes.
So I would say get over that hurdle. But if that's not going to be their thing, then find something else that they will be able to be successful, at least have a chance. And again, it's really simple. It's connecting with people.
Yeah. So Dan, I would love to have you share with your listeners on why you do what you do. What got you into the business?
Thanks for asking, Tina.
You're welcome.
Now, I really am passionate about connecting people to their purpose. And I was selling real estate and I had a team, and I was able to share in a smaller team. The opportunity to work with Bellevue Keller Williams opened up the door for 100 agents or so to potentially have an impact and to share and to really get deep with how can I, in what I'm doing, provide a system, a format, a way where people can really get intentional about their lives and business. So it's just that underlying passion that gets me to herd squirrels every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that expression. So you fairly recently, as I mentioned in your bio, you took on a leadership role after successfully selling real estate for 12 years. What made you decide to pursue that and take it to the next role as you've taken with Keller Williams?
Right. I've had a passion for actually connecting motivation or getting people connected to their purpose with music. So as a full-time musician, there had to be some connection. And so I've written a program. It's called Super Shoes, where you step into the shoes of the superhero you're designed to be. And it's bringing music to successful steps of how people can really find their inner superhero and move forward with that. So I can do that with realtors. I can do that in the office. I can share that because it's all connected. And if I don't bring that connection, I can get lost in all of the tasks and all of the responsibilities of an office manager. So I have to keep bringing that back. And like you said earlier, I actually bring the song to the office and share it occasionally. So
and Keller Williams has such a special, unique environment, as I was talking to you earlier. And so I think it's just an amazing place for somebody so amazing as you to be a leader and to take on that role and really be able to share your gifts with all of the agents. If I sold real estate, I would be in the Bellevue office right there with you. So with so many tools out there to be more efficient, with so many tools out there, Dan, to be more effective, efficient, and productive, how do you choose what to use and for what strategy?
Right. Well, Gary Keller came out with a book this last year called The One Thing. And it really, we can only focus on one thing at a time. If I'm here doing this radio show and I'm thinking about the office, I'm somewhere else, people can usually tell.
Yes.
Or if you're with a client and you're distracted, you can tell. The reality is we can't multitask. We need to focus on one thing at a time. And it really goes back to your most important activity is going to be connecting with people and getting exceptional at that. I know that I sound like a broken record with that, but that really is it. It's that simple. And of course, there's the websites and there's the tools and all of these things, amazing tools to connect with people out there. Make sure that you're doing that.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with me, Dan. That's what my job as a mortgage professional as well is to connect with the consumer, connect with my listeners, connect with my referral sources, and that's one reason why I chose radio as an avenue to really to educate and to bring all of these awesome people in the industry together in one format, so we can all do what we love doing. So Dan, explain to my listeners how one can follow their passion when they're talking about making life.
Right. I think it has to start with the passion, and there's all kinds of gurus out there that say follow your bliss, do all of this. But I would say, in following my passion, it's probably been one of the most difficult journeys. When you get focused and you know what you want to go for, you're going to see the obstacles. So it's not like an effortless, easy path. There's different ways of going about it. Now, I could have chosen the path of a musician and been pretty much poor. But I'd be doing my passion. Is that a part of what I would want to do? But the path for me was I've got to bring who I am to everything that I do. And I think that's the key for everyone is in the moment, you can always bring yourself to whatever situation you're in, real estate, mortgage.
So bringing it all together and being able to take what you're passionate about and intermix it into real estate where you can make a living and make a life for your family.
Right. And make sure that you have a plan for where you want to go, have a big picture for your life. And then that you're actually taking those steps. And it may just be a small part. Like for me, sometimes it's just 5 to 10 minutes at night playing music, so I'll play the guitar and I just unwind, but I'm consistently doing something. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. So what about the distractions? Because there's so many distractions today. And what are some tips to focus on what's more important to you and not allowing these distractions to come in and just take over everything.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just build a bunker. You just have to get focused. You don't open your email. You don't look at other things. You just get focused and decide this is it. In this world of you got to pay attention to your phone and all this constantly,
Yep.
it's not possible to do that and really be effective in the moment.
And
My
you've
opinion.
talked about not doing more than one thing at a time. You know, you can't multitask. There's no such thing as multitask. Our brains will only allow us to think of one thing at a time. Really what multitasking is starting something, shutting it down, starting something else before you finish this, shutting it down and going, that's what multitasking. Anyways, I wanted
So true.
So what is something my listeners can do right now, today, to be successful? Give them a tip.
I think a tip is really just be in the moment and have clarity of where you're going. So many people don't really have clarity of what their purpose is. And so it may just be take a couple of minutes to take a few breaths and say, what am I doing this for? Not to stop everything, but make sure that you're intentional. And if you're getting wrapped up in the busyness of the day, you may need to take a day off or a week off to get focused and get clarity on why you do what you're doing.
Yep, it makes total sense. So Dan, Keller Williams is still relatively new in this area. Why do you see that they're the number one North America in agent count with over 100,000 agents being so new?
I was drawn to Keller Williams because it's about the agent and their business. And Gary Keller from the start is just so passionate about that, meets with the top agents and continues to provide resources for an agent where so many other brokerages are flipped around and it's about the company.
Dan, thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate you and,
Thanks, Tina.
everything that you do for me. And it was
Likewise.
just fun to have you here in studio.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, why stress about all the things that can break down in your house? It can cost you a lot of money when you can spend just a little bit of money to get those items protected and have a warranty. Gene Roberts with Old Republic Home Protection, right here on 1150 AM KNW after the short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you. Call us today at 425-454-4300 or visit magnumlawgroup.com. That's magnumlawgroup.com.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
Are you on a tight budget? An Old Republic Home Protection Plan protects your budget from unexpected and expensive system and appliance breakdowns. You pay a reasonable trade call fee for service on covered items. Old Republic has been shaping the home warranty industry since 1974. They have built an outstanding reputation on providing dependable caring service you can rely on.
Hi, this is Gene Roberts with Old Republic Home Protection. Please give me a call today to learn more about our home warranty product or to order protection for your own house. Call 1-800-282-7131. Again, that's 1-800-282-7131, and my extension is 1329.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, this Saturday, July 12th show. My goal is to keep you up to date on the latest news and trends in our local economy. Keep me tuned in, and I promise I'll keep you informed. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, you can call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Discuss anything regarding money with me or talk to any of the amazing guests that I have in studio with me today. And right now, Gene Roberts with Old Republic Home Protection. A home warranty can provide valuable coverage against the cost of a wide variety of expenses and home repairs and can save you thousands of dollars. And I think as important, if not more, especially listening to Dan earlier earlier, it can save you stress. And that's really what life is about, is minimizing all the stress that we can have. So, Gene, thank you so much for coming into studio.
Thanks, Tina. I appreciate the opportunity.
For coming back.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And again, Gene is with Old Republic Home Protection and has been there for 12 years, serving as an account executive in the Northern Alabama and regional vice president in the Mid-Atlantic region. And now a senior account executive in the Seattle market area, covers 7 counties in Washington state. Talked earlier about all the driving you have to do back and forth in the 7 counties that you service. He's been in the Seattle market for 2 years, and he moved here for a really good reason, to be close to his 3 grandkids. And in Northern Alabama market, he obtained a 46% market share and led the Mid-Atlantic team to sales growth during that time. And the local market, he has been steadily increasing in sales over the past 2 years. Gene was a Realtor in Alabama for 5 years prior to joining the Old Republic team, and his job is to help keep the American dream from becoming a nightmare. I love that, and that really is so true when it comes to what's more important to us than our home.
Right.
I mean, it's the most important asset that we have, and it's not just an asset, but it's a place that we live. And so it's close to all of us. And so when something goes wrong, especially something that can be really expensive, it can be a real nightmare and a real stress. So what a great opportunity to provide something. And home warranty, it's surprising because it really is very cost effective. And I think a lot of people just aren't educated and know the options. And that's why you don't see everybody just, who do you see that doesn't have car insurance?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But you don't see that same thing with a home warranty. So talk a little bit about what home warranty is, Gene.
Well, a warranty is a service contract that covers specific items for a period of time. And with a home warranty, it covers all your major systems and appliances in the house. So you're looking at things like your heating, plumbing, electrical, all your kitchen appliances, and you can get additional coverages for things like your septic system, the line from the house to the street, for instance. Washers and dryers, all kinds of swimming pools, all kinds of systems. So it really just depends on how much risk the homeowner wants to take versus shifting that liability over to us.
Yeah. Our dryer just went out a few months ago, and it was like, I want to say $1,900. Maybe that's a little bit more than what it was, but it was expensive.
Ouch.
My husband takes care of all of that, but it was definitely over $1,000. So it's nice to have that home warranty, so you're not coming out with that money out of pocket. So who can buy a warranty?
First of all, Tina, once again, here's my card if you would like to get one.
I have a home warranty. I'm all good.
Yeah, basically it's designed to help people that are going through a resale transaction. So, if you're buying a home, most of the time you're going to spend every penny that you have getting into the house. And you're not going to have the money if something breaks, especially if it breaks right after closing.
Yep.
Most of our claims actually come in the first 90 days after somebody buys a home. And during that period of time, you're already stressed out because you just spent all the money getting in the house, but you're also buying things like furniture, drapes, things of that nature. So if something major does occur, you just don't have the energy or the time or the money to deal with it. Most people either have to go back into debt or they have to call their relatives or something like that to try to get problems taken care of. Yeah,
where that's definitely no fun at all. And Seller was in a mastermind group with a bunch of top realtors in our local market as a fly on the wall, hearing what some of the concerns are. And the main concern is the lack of inventory and really helping buyers to be more in a better position to get their offer accepted. And they had mentioned about offering a warranty through the time that the seller lives in the home. And I thought, wow, what an amazing idea, adding a extension to that.
Yeah, and one thing that we do, we'll cover not only the buyer, obviously, after closing, but we'll also cover the seller during the listing period. So if someone's going to buy a house, or buying a warranty on the house, rather, we'll put a warranty during the listing period at no additional charge. And let's
wow, I didn't know no additional charge.
Let's say the listing agent doesn't put it on during the listing period, but you have a buyer out there that is going to buy it themselves after closing. We can actually put the warranty in place at the time that the contract's accepted. and it will still cover the seller during that listing period, even though the buyer's the one that's going to
that's awesome. If you're listening right now, you need to pick up the phone. You need to give the show a call so you can get connected with Gene and his team. If you're thinking of buying a house or you're a realtor out there, I mean, I hear it all the time that you're trying to find something to set yourself aside. And I know that there's very few people that are doing this. So add that protection on for the seller and make your offer more appealing. So let's talk about the difference between home warranty and homeowners insurance, because I think sometimes people get the two confused.
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people do confuse insurance and a warranty product. Insurance tries to make you whole after an event. So if something breaks, they try to repair the walls or whatever the problem might be. The best example of how they differ is let's say your water heater explodes and floods the house. Your homeowner's insurance is going to take care of the water damage that is from that, but they're not going to replace your water heater. So the warranty and the homeowner's insurance work hand in hand to help take care of that problem. And just like they don't take care of replacing the water heater, we don't replace the water damage.
So you got to have both of those to make sure that you're completely covered. So, Gene, why Old Republic? Tell my listeners about your company.
Well, we've been doing home warranty since '74, so this year is our 40th year. And through our parent company, we have over $17 billion in assets. But really, just like anything in this industry, it boils down to service. And it's really just a piece of paper until you pick up the phone and you need help.
Sure.
I pride myself in returning calls very quickly. I know that we're going to do the right thing for your homeowners. And really the bottom line is when you pick up the phone, do you get somebody that's going to care and listen? Our company motto is people helping people, and that's what I think we do an excellent job of doing.
That's awesome. So let's talk about cost, because I think it's very inexpensive in what it covers. So how is the cost determined? Is it based on square footage of the home? How?
Yeah, it's up to 5,000 square feet. So as long as the home is under 5,000 square feet, it's $260 for the standard plan, which is going to cover heating, plumbing, electrical, and then your built-in kitchen appliances.
$260 a year.
$260 for the year.
Yep.
Above 5,000 square feet, you can get coverage between 5,000 and 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
And if you do that, it's basically double the price. It's $520. And the reason for that, obviously, is because there's going to be more systems and they're going to be higher dollar systems in the house.
Makes total sense. What about age of the home, a new home versus an older home?
We treat them exactly the same, whether it's a 100-year-old house or a 2-year-old house.
That is surprising.
The only difference is we do also have a new construction product that covers 4 years. So it'll cover the systems for 4 years. But like I said, we treat every house the same no matter what the age is, and it usually just averages out.
So we talked about the listing side. When someone is going in and you either got a seller that's listing their home and they want to have it protected during the listing period, or you have a buyer that wants to be more appealing to the seller and get their offer accepted. So they're providing that coverage during that period of time. So we talked about that. What if the house doesn't close?
So if we have listing coverage on the home and for whatever reason it doesn't go to closing, you can just call me. I'll cancel the order. Nobody pays anything. And that's even if we've done a repair. So let's say we've replaced a dishwasher or something during the listing period. That's kind of our cost of doing business. And, I've seen a lot of things fall apart right before closing. And usually what happens is if something breaks, the seller doesn't have the money or they're not willing to make the repair. The realtor has worked really hard to make the deal happen. Typically what ends up happening is that real estate agent pulls money out of their pocket to try to make the deal happen.
Yeah.
So why not shift that liability to us? Don't pay anything for our warranty until it actually closes.
That's awesome. And with all these inspections going on, I mean, I believe in pre-inspections, but that's a whole nother conversation. But all these inspectors coming in and out of the home and what wear and tear to these houses that I would imagine a lot of times things happen. So what a great benefit. So explain the service process, Gene.
So basically, if something breaks, they call a 1-800 number. We will assign a technician to come out and look at the item. They'll diagnose what the problem is. And typically, the homeowner will pay a trade call fee or deductible, if you will, which is $60. Most of the time, that's all they have to pay. And we'll either repair or replace the item for the homeowner.
Okay. So I know the policy lasts for a year. When it comes time to renew, is the cost the same every year?
Typically, it's a little bit higher. It's not going to be a lot higher, but every year that we hold on to a policy, the more likely it is that we're going to have a large claim.
Oh,
so
makes
there's
sense.
a little more cost when you get beyond the first year. But anybody that ever has a warranty issue during the first year almost always renews. It's the people that don't have a claim during the first year. They don't recognize the value, so they don't renew it.
Yeah, and they should, because something's going to be coming up sooner or later.
Exactly.
What about pre-inspection? Do you do a pre-inspection before you provide that warranty?
No, we just assume everything's in good and proper working order, and we go by what our technicians tell us when they get to the house. So,
Okay.
if it's the day after closing and there's a 1/4-inch hole in the heat exchanger, for instance, it's obvious that problem was there the day before.
Okay.
So we wouldn't cover that. But if it breaks due to normal use, then the items will be covered.
So most common repair that you see, would it be appliances or?
Water heater is probably
Okay.
the biggest issue. Water heater, heating systems are probably the two biggest items. And then the other plumbing leaks would probably be the third item.
And the percentage of homeowners, like here in our area, I mean, what would you guess the percentage of homeowners are covered?
Unfortunately, here it'd be fairly low. I would say 20 to 25%.
Unbelievable.
In some areas of the country, it's as high as 90%. My job is to try to educate people on the value. And for whatever reason, people are not familiar with it. So the good news is we have nowhere to go but up. And I know once they actually understand the way the product works, we'll do really well here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So all parties benefit from a warranty.
Yes.
Gene, thank you again for coming back in studio. It's always great to have you here, and I think it's something really what my goal is, to make sure I'm providing everything regarding my listeners' finances and how to spend the least amount of money and maximize the money that they have. And definitely in your arena, you're doing that. So thank you again for coming in.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
And coming up next in the Money Hour, are you a buyer or a seller in today's real estate market? You need to know what's happening in our market and how to navigate through the process. That's why I have Kim Fraser with John L. Scott right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you. Call us today at 425-454-4300 or visit magnumlawgroup.com. That's magnumlawgroup.com.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 12th show. I've built a network of elite professionals that I share all of their amazing advice in helping you save money, make money, and have more money to enjoy with your family. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, my show number is 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And if you missed anybody in studio earlier today, because we've had some amazing guests, you can always listen to the podcast. Everything is streamed on the site. And in studio right now, Kim Fraser with John L. Scott. Real estate agent is a hot topic, and there's a lot of advice on how to navigate through the environment, but the wrong advice can be the biggest financial mistake that you can make. And I've had Kim in studio before. She was a popular guest, so I just had to bring her back in, and just has a wealth of information. And Kim, I'm excited to have you here. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thanks for having me back, Tina.
You look beautiful over there.
Thank you.
And a little bit about Kim. Kim has been a successful realtor for 12 years with over 600 closings under her belt. She worked out of the John L. Scott, Bellevue, Maine office and serves the greater Puget Sound region. She has been recognized among the top agents within John L. Scott consistently for the last 10 years. And, Kim, that says a lot because there's a lot of people selling real estate. People come in and come out, and there's people that have, really great times and their business slows down to consistently for 10 years, and that's 10 years out of your 12-year career, to be in that top group is just amazing. And I just, again, appreciate you so much being here. So let's talk a little bit about real estate. Many of the listeners are asking what's happening in the market today, and what are you saying to buyers?
Well, it's very competitive in the Seattle and East Side markets, especially. Lots of multiple offer situations. I just did an open house this last weekend. Had 15 sets of buyers through on Saturday, 12 on Sunday. Lots of activity. People kind of frantic. That particular house had been on the market about 12 days. Had not received multiple offers, so people are, walking through the door, anticipating, when are you reviewing offers? Is there an offer review period already set? So the East Side market, and I think a lot of the Seattle market as well, have that expectation that they know they have to get out their first weekend on the market if they're going to compete and have a chance at securing the best properties. That makes total sense, and I know in any environment you have to adjust, and if you want to take advantage of this market and all the opportunities, I believe that everything's balanced and there's no exception to that. So, in a really great market, the disadvantage is it's hard. It's hard to get your offer accepted. And so how do a consumer have to adjust their thinking to be successful in this environment? Well, it's a tough market out there. In the South End, Dan Wingard and I both we came from the South End, in a little different market in the Federal Way.
I came from the South End too and lived in Federal Way.
Did you? Mm-hmm. That's where we were from originally before we all relocated to the great market in Bellevue. Mm-hmm. Definitely the South End market is a different mindset than the East Side or Seattle markets. I think it's important to educate your buyers, and I have listings in both Bellevue as well as the South End, and it's a different bird, really, different animal. So I have some people who are just selling down in the Lake Tapps area, moving up to Bellevue, and really educating the seller in regards to earnest money. Mm-hmm. Typically in the South End, we can get away with 1% earnest money check. In the East Side, you're a minimum 3 to 5% easily. And, with prices,
and it'd be more than 5% if 5% wasn't kind of the maximum.
Absolutely. Yes. And, $1 million properties, $50,000 all day long. It's not an uncommon amount to, see out there. So I think sometimes educating your buyers to anticipate you're writing a big fat check. And it's really shocking for people coming from that market, trying to make sure that they understand this market and they're separate, even though you're selling and buying at the same time.
Yes.
If you're moving from one region to another, it can be drastically different. So I think it's important as agents that we do a good job educating our buyers and sellers of the expectation of each market. One of the things with the East Side market, so you're going to be looking at, or Seattle, they're primarily the hotter markets in our region. You're going to be looking at multiple offer situations, waiving earnest money, waiving financing, waiving inspections.
Wish you could waive the earnest money.
I know, wouldn't that be nice? There's lots of money flying at you. Yeah. Earnest money would be nice to waive that. So I'm sorry, waiving financing contingencies. Typically, you'd have a 30-day financing contingency. So you want to make sure you have your financing locked in, rock solid, like with a great mortgage professional like yourself, because there's a lot of risk involved by waiving your financing contingency. And if things don't go well, you're going to lose your money.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because I'm surprised in this environment on the listing side, because it just shows that, I don't know, there's a small percentage that do a really good job. Why aren't the listing agents going on that there's a finance contingency, release your finance, and we see it all the time. Nobody ever says anything. And I'm like, what the hell? Why would they not say something? You've got a date here on the contract. I don't know. I would guess out of my clients, probably maybe 1% I ever have anybody mention it.
I think you're right. It's the rarest occasion that you actually see it. Now, as listing agents, I think what happens is you've got, all of these timelines you're working, beyond. And really, technically, even if you have a 30-day financing contingency, unless you specifically request that earnest money be waived, you could be on a 60-day closing and be at day 59.
Yes.
And if the listing agent did not ask for that earnest money to be, the financing contingency to be waived, you've been off the market 59 days, the buyer's keeping the earnest money. So it's very difficult in our state for a seller to actually ever see the earnest money. It's not even half the time worth of paper that it's written on, unless you have a listing agent following proper protocol and asking for that financing contingency to be released, whether it's 15 days or 30 days into the contract.
Makes total sense. So let's talk about how awesome it is to be here in the Northwest. Our employment, I mean, we all know that real estate follows employment. I always tell clients when they go, where do you think the real estate market's going to go? I don't know. What do you think the employment market's going to do? Because real estate follows employment. Employment's doing well, real estate's doing well. Employment's not. Usually people have an opinion on employment, but other than employment, because we all know with, Boeing and Nordstrom, and I mean, we've just got so many, Microsoft, so many amazing opportunities here, and they keep getting more and more. What else is there that makes us so special here in the Northwest?
Well, we live in an absolutely beautiful countryside. It's gorgeous. And for the people that live here, obviously we see it firsthand on a daily basis, the beauty of the water and the mountains, and so many recreational opportunities available to us, whether it's boating or hiking or biking, cycling, hiking Mount Rainier. I mean, there's so many water sports. The arts and museums in downtown Seattle and the East Side are so popular. And of course, our fabulous sports teams, the Mariners and the Seahawks, are a pretty big draw too. So we're pretty blessed to have so many opportunities in our region.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned weather because I'm trying to remember the name of the series, right? The Killing, or do you know what I'm talking about? It's a series, but anyways, it's in Seattle. It's filmed in Seattle, and it rains all the time. So I have my stepdaughter and her boyfriend moved in with us. They just relocated from Colorado, so they're going to hang out and play with us at our house for a couple of months till they decide where they want to live. And they love I think it's called The Killing. And it rains all the time. And I said, well, Jimmy, it rains all the time because that's what we want people to think.
Absolutely.
We want people to think it rains all the time, but it
so
doesn't.
Stay away. No,
exactly.
It's gorgeous. It doesn't. There's nowhere prettier today.
I know.
There's nowhere prettier.
It's amazing. So what about single family home versus condo? Because a lot of people ask that. What's better?
Well, as far as better, I think it just it's lifestyle choice, number one. I think if you're a busy professional, empty nester, single person starting out, I think there's a lot of demographics. Sometimes for a young person, a condo's a great purchase. They're busy starting out their career. They maybe can't afford to do a single family home, but want to make a purchase because it's kind of like a runaway train. You've got to get into the market somewhere. So if a condo is the first thing that you can afford, that you can appreciate with and grow equity with, then you start with a condo. And then you may always stay with a condo or townhome, or you may eventually graduate out into a single family home. Then you have that, busy professionals who just love the, low maintenance lifestyle, would rather write a check, have everything taken care of. So I think that's a popular thing too. Empty nesters, a lot of great, 55 plus communities, surrounding condo neighborhoods, recreation. They want to enjoy that time. Single family homes, I think obviously you have, single people, married people, people with kids, people without kids, empty nesters. So that fills a different demographic as well. Obviously, you have maintenance, requirements with the house and landscaping and yard work, and it comes at a price as well. So you're either paying someone else and you have, kind of a more managed lifestyle, or you take that on yourself. I think the hardest thing is that people sometimes neglect their houses. They have a tendency to get busy and not do things. Your gutters or your paint and things like that. So if you're not super conscientious, a condo is definitely a little easier living.
So figure out what you're willing to, spend your time on and make a decision that way. So inventory, I know we can't stop talking about it. It's ridiculous. And, we're just hoping for some of this distressed properties to come off the market or to come onto the market. Bank owned, some of the short sales, they're not coming. I don't think they're going to come. But what are your thoughts? I mean, how are we going to solve this issue with inventory? Are we going to be getting any more?
I think it's still slow moving. I'm kind of surprised at the lack of inventory we have out there, because there are definitely more buyers in the marketplace on the east side than there are availability of homes. So really that first week on the market, I mean, it's golden. If you're priced right, your house is going. And a lot of times if you're priced right to begin with, multiple offers. As far as the distressed properties and short sales, I would have thought there would have been a lot more too. I mean, granted, we did see about 5 years of it where I've seen enough short sales to last me a lifetime. These days, it's pretty quiet. I mean, you'll see a couple occasionally, probably more short sales still in the south end than we see in the east side. And I'm not sure why. We just see a little bit fewer here. We do have we've seen about 20% appreciation, a little over 20% in the last 2 calendar years. So things are starting to dig themselves out of a hole. So I think we'll continue to see less short sales as inventory the equity in the home starts to neutralize.
Makes sense. So if there's a listener out there looking at buying a short sale property, they see one, the process is still, they really haven't made a lot of improvements as far as the time commitment. I mean, you could be waiting 6 months plus to see if the short sale is going to come through. Can they still be out there playing around on the market and see if they can find something else so they don't have to wait once they've signed an offer? Or how does that work, Kim?
Well, it really depends, I think, on the contract that you're writing. I mean, sometimes agents will want to tie you in for a minimum 60 to 90 days with waiving your earnest money if you're to walk away. So I think that you kind of have to be cautious so you don't leave a bunch of earnest money out there on the table. So I think that's the gamble that you face. You just need to be smart about if you're going to put the offer out there that you're not over committing and costing yourself the potential earnest money that you would leave on the table by being doubly committed. So there's no problem continuing to shop and continuing to look. Just make sure that you and your agent are smart about how you do it so you don't commit yourself to more than you can actually perform.
Makes total sense, Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina.
It was awesome having you in studio. I'll have to have you back. Just again, thank you very much. And to all my listeners out there, thank you. Loving Seattle. Love our weather. It's a great weekend. I hope you're enjoying some special time with your family. I hope you're not working. Some of us have got to work, but it's all good. And I just appreciate you listening to the show, and anything that you want, guests that you want in studio, anything regarding our economy, anything regarding money, and you have not heard them, give me a call. Let me know your thoughts. 1-855-400-1150. You can always comment or ask any questions online at the Money Hour as well. And this is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy, and I'll talk to you next weekend right here, next Saturday, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
The preceding program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395 is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information.